to meet you. What's the last name again?
Sites.
Sites, okay. Are you coming over here? Are you gonna sit over there, or?
I'll be okay.
I have a bit of a script, just because it's easier that way. It's kind of notes and script.
Okay, but just give you a heads up, Jeff went actually long, so we're gonna have to cut you a little
I
short.
think about 7 minutes would be good.
Okay, you got it.
Yes, and this is Eric, he's a
I'll help us
soil
get back on.
scientist, he's here with me as well. So we're gonna kind of go back and forth, so pay attention. But basically I'm here, my name is Jo Walters, and I'm actually running for Lieutenant Governor. And I'm here because I wanted to talk about basically an artistic vision that I have for the state of Wisconsin, specifically in and around the resources that we have and hold, you know, within our boundaries. But to do that, I sort of need to have some questions answered. And so I just sort of really need to understand simply this project. So what is the actual size of the open pit mine when it's done? What's it gonna look like?
Okay. The entire length of the project is about 3 3/4 miles long by between 1/3 and 1/2 mile.
And this is the job crater.
Wide. Huh?
This is going to be the job crater.
Job crater.
This is, yeah, so the pits, it would be, the plan right now would be that there would be 2 pits in that area. So the whole thing wouldn't be opened. You'd have 1 pit, and then you dig the 2nd pit, filling the first, is the concept at this point.
So you're going to take, the tailings aren't going to be spread through the 3,000 acres. You're talking more just filling it with rubble and tailings into the...
That wasn't the question, so you can wait your turn.
The tailings,
Go ahead, Mary Jo.
okay.
All right, so it is
this your
important because
meeting,
what
so-
I'm working on is like, all right, so we have an open pit mine. It's 3/4, 3.5 long by 1 mile 1/3
No, by 1/3 of a mile to a 1/2 a mile.
in its
width.
In its depth,
No.
going down.
No, width.
Oh,
In
width,
width.
okay.
So it would be like, you know.
Just need to picture it. Right,
it-
and then
with-
depth. Go ahead with the
Within
depth.
this area, you'd have 2 pits. So you'd have 1
Oh,
pit here,
2
1 pit
pits.
here. This way, you'd be 1/3 to a 1/2 mile this way. And this way, you'd be roughly 3.5.
And then how deep does it go?
And the question then is where? Because
So
there's
you got 2
different-
pits.
From the top of the,
Yeah.
and you're on a slope. So from the top of the
Existing
Existing
grade,
grade.
unlike Highway 77 or at the
You'd
top of
be-
Whittlesey.
you'd be in the, what do we say, the DNR, 7, 8,
100 feet, yeah,
100
some
feet from the
places,
top,
yeah.
and 5 something from the bottom, so.
The average
The average
weighted is 540 feet thick and deep.
So this is this is my vision. It's not a pretty vision for some people, but you know, it's practical. So you've got these depths and widths, and they've been taken out. And so why not fill them with sand? Have you considered sand?
Sand's a natural filter.
To fill the,
Fill that area up with sand because, and this is where the vision goes, right? So you can call it Northern Dells Family Park. This is how I picture it. All right, you're already, when you go to take that area out, it's forest, right? It's forest. So the idea of keeping it closed circle. So you have that area and you've taken out the forest so you can reuse those logs, right? You take away the you can make them into benches. You can make them into what's that called? The towers.
Watchtower.
Watchtowers, sleeping bunks for the workers. So it's the idea of like when the mine is gone, what do you put there? And so I was driving up through the Dells area to come here, and I'm driving right through the Dells. Now, I wouldn't recommend putting anything too big or wide right by the street because it's a little distracting. But the idea of the sands that are being taken out already, that idea of the artistic vision of seeing resources within the state being used again in the state. So here you have frac sand mining. It's happening like crazy. You know, there's just so much of it. Take that sorted sand and bring it up north. You could have the
Corporate,
essentially the,
corporate sustainability,
It's in the
and
same
then you're
loop.
keeping things in a loop. You know, tailing piles of sand after you've run it through a screening process, you could take, you know, some of that larger grade, not the fine sands that they want for fracking, but then fill in the natural filter, you know, filtering
And
action.
essentially, that sand is gonna be the product that's left after that would be making up the waste area. And actually under the state law, this is a great point, because under the state law, there's a reclamation plan that's required. And the use of the property, you know, I mean, it can be as unimaginative as one hill. People have suggested other things, you know, they suggested, you know, other park kind of things, you know, other ways to form that